Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has been the place to shop for your industrial needs for over 20 years. Carrying the tools you need to get the job done from the brands you can trust, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has you covered. Brands like Milwaukee Tool, established in 1924 and on display in our Milwaukee Red Zone, the largest red zone in Winnipeg. With construction workers and tradespeople in mind, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools is your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. So come on down to our Winnipeg store location today, located on 1557 King Edward Street in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And good evening, Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League fans, and to a rare Wednesday night edition of mmjhl Game Day here in the 2024-2025 Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League season, live from a neutral site for tonight's contest, featuring the home side for this matchup in the Charleswood Hawks and the visiting side in the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. I'm your host and play-by-play commentator for tonight's action and coverage, Graham Forsyth. We're brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terrico Goaltenders, and Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, of course, and Terrico. Thank you to them for continuing to sponsor the continuing coverage of Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League hockey and everything else we cover here on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca, your home for hockey here in the province of Manitoba for 2024-2025. As for how this game got scheduled to be played tonight, well, a few Fridays ago, of course, there was a huge storm that ended up hitting Manitoba, so that ended up rescheduling this game until this day right here, as they moved it up all the way from 2 Fridays ago to this January 29th, 2025 date. As for both of these teams, this is going to be the 4th matchup of the season between the two, and yeah, should be, I think, a pretty tightly contested matchup, given that the Raiders Junior Hockey Club have been one of the best teams to start off the 2025 portion of the schedule in this 2024-2025 regular season in the but as for how last week's action went, and it started off with a game that got rescheduled from a bit earlier on this year between, I believe, the St. Boniface Riels and Pembina Valley Twisters. 11-1 the final in favor of St. Boniface as they went into Morris and took care of business. As for the Stonewall Jets at home last Thursday night in a matchup on mmjhl Game Day, 7-3 victory over the St. Vital Junior Victorias, but they'd fall by a similar score on Sunday to a team we'll be watching tonight in the Charleswood Hawks, losing 7-4. As for the Raiders, coming in a huge victory in overtime against the defending champion St. James Junior Canucks, as the Raiders were down 3-2 and came all the way back to win that one in overtime. Transcona with a huge output on Sunday, as well as we had that game on mmjhl Game Day. But as for the standings, 5 teams have clinched playoff spots at this point. Transcona no longer on top of the standings. That spot belongs to the Fort Garry Twins now, but much can change as we got still 11 games left for most of these teams, a bit more for some. But yeah, the top of the standings is quite tight, as you can see there, and I think it's going to go down to the very wire to see who ends up coming away with first place in the league this season to become regular season champions. And that could very well be the Charleswood Hawks, who, if they're able to come away with the full 2 points tonight, they would move only a point back of the Fort Garry Twins and would tie Transcona in the standings. But as for the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, they're looking to keep themselves ahead of the Stonewall Jets with a win here tonight, as they're only up by 2 points on them in the standings. So we'll take a look at the keys to the game heading into tonight. For the Raiders, came back to win an OT over St. James on Sunday, as mentioned. They're looking to even up this season series tonight, as they're 1-2 against Charleswood so far. And yeah, I just think keep it rolling for them. This is a team that was really impressive in their first game back in 2025 with that victory against the St. Boniface Riels. It's really just kept rolling their season of great results ever since that victory to end off their 2024 set of the schedule against the St. James Junior Canucks. So whatever they're doing, keep it up for the Raiders, looking to strengthen their spot in the standings tonight as they rank 7th and are looking to put even more of a hold on that rank. And as for the Charleswood Hawks, won in a barn burner on Sunday. They're keeping pace with the top right now, and with the team that's already clinched a playoff spot, a team that's gone all in with the moves that they've made at trade deadline, and given that this team has a ton of experience left from last season and from the past 2 seasons of Final Four runs, it's about building your game for the playoffs and continuing to round things out and continuing to focus on the good habits and correcting the bad habits here as we get closer and closer to the 2025 postseason in the MMJHL. First off, though, there's still quite a few games left to be played. This one of them in a rare Wednesday night tilt in this league. Reschedule a game from this one canceled a few weeks ago on Friday due to a snowstorm here in Manitoba. It's scheduled here and going to be played finally tonight from the Hockey for All Center on G-Show Productions on MMJHL Game Day. This has been your pregame show, everybody. Thank you for watching it, and I hope you enjoy the first period of action. National Anthem coming up next. Moments away from puck drop here as it's officially 8:15 p.m. That's the official time of when this game is supposed to be starting. This is MMJHL Game Day on your home for MMJHL Hockey on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. It's the Charleswood Hawks playing at home, or as the home team on a neutral site here, as their home rink is usually Eric Coy Arena. But with this game being rescheduled, you have to find some open ice, and the Hockey for All Center was delivering here on one of their 4 rinks. It's the Raiders and Hawks renewing their rivalry here tonight. 4th matchup of the regular season. Brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia for this first period specifically, as well as Mid-Canton Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, And goaltender Sperber feeds this towards the net, just hops over the stick of Lewis. There's a lot of pace early on here, a lot of speed from this Charles Wood Hawks side. Picked up by Sperber, drops this back for Lewis, tries to drag to the net, but stood up by a Raiders defenseman as Van Alstyne holds the line strongly. Sends this back, and Carlson in behind to disrupt with a stick in the lane. As this gets to Wilson, into the skates of Senchuk that goes, as it's played D-to-D by the Charles Wood Hawks all the way in to the Raiders zone as the Hawks. Can't go off for a change just yet. Icing is called on the play. So we're going to get our first stoppage in play with a face-off coming up inside the Hawks end here. Ashton Henry to take the draw for the Raiders. Loses this. It's cut off by Van Alstyne at the wall. D-to-D this went and flipped out by Charles Wood now into the glove of Larveld, as Larveld sends this in on number 1 in Keegan Gordon, who makes a save. A stoppage in play as we get to your starting goaltenders for tonight's action in Keegan Gordon for the Charles Wood Hawks. Gordon, the league's wins leader this point in the year with 19. As for the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, in their crease tonight, starting number 35 and Owen Savoy. Goaltenders, your goalie's personal video review service. Be sure to check out their website for more details at GordyTummelsonGoalies.ca. So, Raiders Junior Hockey Club, a bit of confusion on who comes out and who stays on the ice. So they look to take advantage of an icing from a Charles Wood Hawks team who is heading back to the playoffs, but looking to end their championship drought. The most decorated team in the mmjhl's history. A team that was the 2000s, dominated that decade specifically. Haven't won since 2011-2012. Past 2 seasons, plenty of Final Four appearances, 2 in a row. But have bowed out in both those series and got swept last year. Here's a chance for Stevenson. Makes his way past with strength. His shot turned aside, glove down by number 35 and Owen Savoy. As with that, we got a stoppage with 18:20 remaining on the first period clock. And for the Raiders Junior Hockey Club in the 2010s, they saw some championship success, but to start off post-pandemic, it's been some ups and downs, more downs than they've seen, beforehand in their history, as they've, seen them miss the playoffs a few times. A team that struggled to get back near the top of the standings where they were during their championship days in the late 2010s. It's a team that's kind of playing with house money right now. No players that are going to be aging out of this league, and plenty that could be returning. So with a team that's in a playoff spot right now and looking to get back in again this season, the type of experience that you can get from a late type of run that this team could potentially make could be massive, as former Hawk Zach Enerson trying to muscle his way past. So he was traded this trade deadline. Penner, also not a former Twin, as I should say, now on the Hawks. His shot glove down by Owen Savoy. That's another stoppage here. Brings us to 17:21 remaining. So I want to thank you for choosing G-Show Productions on this Wednesday night for mmjhl game day action. Glad to be here at the Hockey for All Center. As this puck gets to Enerson in the neutral zone just before the blue line. He'll send this one in, rimmed around hard enough into the direction of Koshier, but could not hit Koshier in the end. Or Kushner, that is. As Savoy out to leave this, stop this up for number 23 and Matthew Wilson, as Wilson tried to make a move but has it stripped away. Monin, one-timer feed turned aside by Banera. A huge one there by number 35, but the Hawks back on a quick pass into the skates of Big Fussin. Turned over on Enerson's stick for the Raiders as they work this out. Huge hit along the boards on Whiteside by Big Fussin. We got a whistle on the play as well. I don't believe it'll be for the hit. Leaving their mark, though, the Charleswood Hawks. As a nice passing play by them moments ago after things broke down for the Raiders in their zone after a Matthew Wilson turnover. It's a huge save by number 35, sprawling out to make it on a one-timer chance. We remain scoreless here, but once again, the Hawks trying to maneuver through. Can't quite catch up to that loose puck. Azarian Sean just flips this in as they go hunting again. Hukert turns this over up the boards, ends up to the low slot. Savoy lost sight of where that puck was off the rebound. Ends up into safety behind the net. This is on Ashton Henry's stick. Henry stops up, feeds across ice to D-Man, and Larvell just past the red line sends this in deep. Keegan Gordon out of his own net to play it. Plays it up the middle, almost dangerous, but able to get by with some ease. Is this all the way down for an icing into the Raiders zone? We'll get another face-off draw coming up here, but yeah, so far the Raiders are feeling that pressure, that speed that the Hawks play with in their game. Would like to see them get a bit quicker and safer with their puck movement, as we've seen multiple turnovers so far forced from the Hawks' advantage from their point of view. With a good forecheck, which has saw some errant passes for this Raiders Junior Hockey Club team. So how do they get sharper in their execution on the breakouts out as the Hawks come down again? That shot turned aside by Owen Savoy as he continues to stand tall in this one. 15:33 left on the clock. Gets some much-deserved stick taps on his pads. Stevenson in to take the draw against Kennedy. So Kennedy ends up winning it. Has some help from a teammate who sends it into the skates of Glavina in the neutral zone. He just plays this to the boards quickly. Glavina, nice job to block that up. That clearing attempt by Yurchenko as Yurchenko dumps him to the ice afterwards. Down low, it's picked up by Reynolds as Reynolds now tied up and continuing to go with Chapman. As 20 finally gets loose, it's a chance potentially for the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, but they can't chip this in successfully initially. Now they do. Drop back to Senchuk. Protects the puck out wide. Shot turned aside by Gordon. Left on for Vic Fussin to skate this out and break it out. Drops this over to the right for number 22 in Anthony Jacob. So we will get yet another stoppage here. Another good chance for the Hawks off the rush. So look for a lot of chances off the rush for this team quite often throughout this game, as one of the main ways they generate their momentum is just continuing to pile up chances on odd man rush chances, or, you know, if there are numbers back, delaying and setting up their cycle game. As this up the left side, hit coming, seeing it was Larenko as he gets this out on a Cromie stick. Cromie tries to shoot, fans it, loses it kind of in his skates. As this will be picked up by Riley Dudich. Was about to be stick checked, so just sends it in deep upon entry as Dudich continues, plugs up the boards nicely. As the Raiders able to send this all the way out. Under the stick of Arco White, as this stretch pass all the way down, missing but no icing called on the play. Onto the captain, Van Norman's stick, lost it in the skates. Now blowing a tire will be Sam Monin, but got that to safety cross ice to Penner as Penner dumps this in the opposite corner. Monin first one on it, but couldn't whack that puck to safety to the middle. Instead, it remains along the boards for now for this Raiders squad. Turned over up to the point, now held in D-to-D to Van Norman. Sends this in deep for Monin. Monin behind the goal line, tried to send it back up to the point to Sean, but off the mark as the Hawks have to regroup. Monin just past the red line, heads up play, just gets a piece of this to deflect this in, so it eliminates the icing. It could have been called. Kushner now picks up this puck for the Raiders as he almost gets it back, but just a bit out of his reach as he redirects that in deep into the Hawk zone now, as the Raiders are trying to replicate what this Hawks team has been doing these last few clearings. As puck off the boards to Sperber. Gets this loose now to Lewis, but a bit behind for number 19. Larveld picks up this loose puck and works a D to Whiteside, who works it up to Kushner. But off of his stick, he gives chase. Can't get to it first, as there will be Van Norman who does. Plays this quickly to Glavina, as Glavina dangles to the middle. Feeds it now outside to Carlson. Tries getting it back to Glavina, but good stick in the lane to take that away. Ends up down low. Carlson can't find a man. Ended up to Krekowitz at the point, but he couldn't hold. Is now gaining a step. Cromie trying to, as that knocked away all the way down for an icing. Rather, it was Logan Ash who almost got to that puck first. Of course, he's a newcomer from one of their most recent trades that they made before the deadline from the River East Royal Knights. For the Raiders, their line of D'Souza, Henry, and Ash out there. Adding a lot of high-end skill to that top line, Logan Ash, as he looked very promising to start off his year in River East. Tried to dangle pass through the legs of a Hawks player, but couldn't. Gets taken down into the ice now, into the boards. But Ash remains out there, back on his feet. Sword D to Krekowitz, playing against his former team once again tonight here in the Raiders, as he was traded there last year from the St. James Junior Canucks. It's down low, play D to Yurchenko, who plays this to D'Souza for the Raiders, as that cross-ice pass out of the reach for Henry. All the way down this goes. The Hawks able to make their way out as Waddell flips this towards the slot area. So be sent up, having a stick taken away as a Raiders player by Parker White. 10:59 remaining in this first period of action. Just over halfway remaining at that, as Parker White, his pass up the left side, taken away by number 20, and Jack Derrick plays that out in front, but has it cut off. Wait, Charles Wood player, stretch pass up to Vig Fussin off the stick of Reynolds, but unable to be cradled in. So ended up all the way down low, coming in for a big hit, but seeing it. It's Jacob who came in for a big hit, seeing it, I believe. Not sure who that was. Jacob now gloving this down, but can't continue on with a good stick from Zook to take that away. Is now whacking the stick of Jacob, and getting a shot back was Wilson. He was the one who braced the hit from a Jacobs, who was coming down with a bunch of steam, as mentioned previously, as both of them, actually, it's Zook and Jacob go down to the ice together. Zook has him on in a bear hug as he's on top of him. Will be interesting to see what happens here. As Jacob remains on the ice. As it looks like it's going to be the Raiders, as well as the Hawks, who go to the box. So pretty sure it's coincidental penalties coming up here. We still could be wrong, actually. No one in the box for the Raiders. So with that, I guess they come away with a power play advantage for this Raiders squad, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. Makes sense, since it looked like out of the two, Jacob was the one who did more of the damage there in that scrum between him and Wilson. Although Wilson came up behind him and gave him a whack, but that's what the refs make the decision as. This power play, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, is Traverse. Gets checked from behind, maintains his balance though after taking a bit of a rub from Ashton Henry. Couldn't do much with it afterwards, though. Is now turned over into the Raiders' possession as Henry about to get caught off. Gets physicality along the boards but gets right back up, held in by Larveld at the point. Gordon knocks it down off the back of his back and into the back of the net. This goes 1-0 lead for the Raiders to start things off here. They strike on the power play. Brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. It's a shot upon entry that it's usually been a routine save that Gordon makes, but this one he can't control the velocity of the shot. Ends up trajecting upwards, and what comes up must come down, and it ricochets beautifully if you're a Raiders Junior Hockey Club fan or player associated with this team, as that goes off the back, bounces in off of Keegan Gordon's back of the Charles Wood goaltender, as it's a 1-0 lead for the Raiders Junior Hockey Club with 9:10 remaining here in this first period of action. This face-off won by the Raiders, but unable to be cleared out as Krekowitz sees his shot blocked up there. Nice takeaway down low by Sperber to the net. That turned aside, cut off by a Raiders stick. Is now going for a skate, trying to, is Whiteside cutting up the middle and again trying to cut through to the inside on Glavina, but couldn't. Down the other way. Here comes the Hawks. Lewis has a shot blocked. Sperber picks up the rebound. Loose track. Oh, somehow Savoy able to sprawl out to make the save again. He's had a few of those so far this period. This time being his most recent big save. Is that shot initially by Lewis doesn't get through cleanly, but Sperber in the right spot at the right time. Good nose for that puck, as it's just been following him so far. Redirects him after the block, gets a tricky first shot on Savoy before almost getting his own rebound, but as we can see, Savoy locked in, able to stretch out to just keep that out. The desperation save. As it's the Raiders who went up with a power play goal. I believe scored by Mason Larveld. We will confirm that as the game goes along. Shots 8-5 in favor of the Charleswood Hawks. Looking to even up the score here as a huge hit along their boards. This now stretched up to the middle to Vigfuss, and he unloads that shot blocked up by number 14 in Chapman. Kalen Reynolds swooping around, ends up getting a stick in the lane there, went to Vigfuss, and now up to the point to Van Alstyne. Cross-ice feed to a D-man who sends that out of play in Parker White. So another face-off draw coming inside of the Raiders Junior Hockey Club zone, and for this squad so far, I mean, it's a team that, as we've continued to see, that isn't really dictating the majority of the play, but are surviving in their own end and have been opportunistic on their chances, of course, as they're able to shovel this puck out. But curious to see, you know, how this team could potentially get hemmed in as this game goes along, especially for the rest of this first period if they allow it to happen, given that they're up 1-0. And who knows, maybe they'll be playing to protect the lead instead of extending it. For Charleswood, definitely going to be pressing here and hard for the remainder of this period. And in this game, especially until they can get this even and get in front for themselves, is Van Norman. Quick little feed over to, I believe that was Moan, and it was. Fed it over across to Penner, who sends this in deep, goes off for a change as Anthony Jacob took a whack in an attempt. Bumps a man off the puck, and now going into the corner. Big physical play there from number 22, in to help him, number 17 in Traverse. But the other number 17 with it now, and Laranko takes a shot from Traverse as that gets sent in on net. Turned aside by Gordon. Played up to Traverse. Hits middle to Jacob. Shields this puck or tries to along the boards, but a nice stick check there by the Raiders. As two men get tied up with each other. Kennedy as well as Traverse. Arm is up, so a penalty coming here on the play. 2 minutes for interference. So I believe this may be going to the Hawks, and it is, sending the Raiders back onto the power play. Which will be brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. For the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, ranking 5th in the league on the power play at 20.2%. Looking to go, of course, 2 for 2 so far here tonight, as in the slot. Ashton Henry gets it up loose to the point to D'Souza. Up top to Matthew Wilson. His shot through, and this time covered up soundly by Gordon. As the 7th ranked penalty kill in the league goes back to work, which is at 79.4%. Of course, looking to go 1 and 2 on the night, as they're 0 for 1 on the kill so far with that man advantage goal they let up minutes ago in this game. Is this D'Souza plays this down low to Larenko. Nice move by Larenko to shield this puck away. Quickly over to D'Souza again. Nice puck movement by the Raiders. Just gets over to Danoon as his shot turned aside. Rebound there. Henry had his stick disrupted, or he would have had a great look on Gordon. Instead, that fanned on wide of the net, but still controlled by the Raiders. D'Souza, his shot turned aside low by Gordon, high up to the point. Danoon fans on that, trying to send it in. So the Raiders, as the puck clears out, they have to set up and break in again, which they do. This over to D'Souza. Trouble with the long wall. Over to Wilson, but didn't look clear enough across, as nobody from the Raiders was there to receive that pass across. So allows for the Hawks to get this out and send it all the way down deep. Wilson up to Ash in the neutral zone, but it was contested, and the Hawks able to get this puck all the way down again. As this is skated along the boards and now draw back to Kushner as the Raiders look to open up some more space into the feet of White, that is, or Larveld, that is. And end up hitting Kushner with the pass. Another penalty called here. So it'll be the Hawks going to the box again. So penalty trouble for the Hawks here early on. 2 minutes for hooking on Riley Dudich. As for the next 16 seconds, it'll be a 5-on-3 for the Raiders. As our special team sequence continues here in the first, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. 5-on-3 opportunity for this Raiders team to strike. It's one up to Cromie, DDD to Larveld, back to Cromie as he advances up. That shot blocked though on the way through and wide of the net as it's over to Van Norman. Looking to go 1-on-3, now a 1-on-4 potentially, as good numbers back on the back check for the Raiders, converging on Van Norman to take it away. He's back in his defensive position to defend this oncoming rush. The Hawks able to stick this away and get it out into the neutral zone. Hit up the middle to Whiteside. Able to establish the zone now. Stay strong on this puck as he maintains possession. Taking chucking from Van Norman. This up to Larveld at the point. His shot through. Not really any traffic as it's blocked away by Keegan Gordon. We're back to a 5-on-4 here for the next minute and 10 seconds. Cromie circles up to the point and drops this down low to Logan Ash, who sends it down low, trying to jam that side of the net as that puck, looking out. Some of the fans were extra cautious there, as kind of parallel eye level with the puck here, as we're in the stands in this rink compared to other arenas we broadcasted from. We still remain with a 1-0 lead for the team that's considered the visitors here tonight in the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. So they look to extend on this 1-goal lead. Played up, controlled at the point to Wilson. Over to Danoon. His shot turned aside. Good concentration there from Keegan Gordon. over Matthew Wilson. Plays it over to Danoon. Tried to pull up to shoot that, but lost a handle on it instead. Allowed for the Hawks to clear it out, but bad line change for Charles Wood. Allows for D'Souza to break, and nice recovery by Glavina. He's able to get a stick in the lane there for the Hawks. They take this away and send it all the way down with 20 seconds remaining on the Raiders' man advantage. As Savoy leaves this for Matthew Wilson. One more rush up as Wilson protects strongly on the outside. Played it all the way down where Wilson... Gordon was there to play that. Tipped wide of the net on that last chance on that power play as we're back to even strength. To Wilson, his shot from the point. Glove down, flash on the leather. Is Keegan Gordon. Is with that, 2:20 remaining in this first period of action on your home for Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League action here on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. By the way, we will be showing you some highlights from a few Sundays ago in the league. Now, I guess 2 Sundays ago. So we were at the Raiders home rink. So they took on the St. Vital Junior Victorias. Have highlights of that one as well as highlights from Sunday night mmjhl game day matchup from not last Sunday but the Sunday beforehand, coming up in our second intermission. As this face-off draw won and controlled by the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, Yorchenko, his chance towards the net, unable to go. Hawks unable to feed that through skates and out. As Van Alstyne plays this D to White. Up to Reynolds as he turns this up over the middle. As Kennedy stick handles in, but that's what draws the offside. The hesitation on the play there. Thinking a bit too far ahead for his teammates in one Cole Kennedy. Of course, a newcomer on this team coming all the way over from the Stonewall Jets, along with Jack Derritt. And good on head coach and James Barkley. Keeping those guys together, keeping chemistry together, and the way these lines have been constructed have been just flowing really well for the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. All players on these lines complementing each other really well. As Barkley has found something that is really seeming to be working for this squad. 7-2-1 in their last 10 games. As Elliot Lewis draws a penalty here. Nice inside cut move under the stick. Referees sometimes let that go, but not going to this time. As for the Hawks, it's a chance for them to build some good momentum late in this period, as there's 56.3 seconds remaining only, and a potential chance to cut into the Raiders' momentum. If they're able to even this score up in the dying minute here, could be huge in terms of how these teams played psychologically the rest of the way. As that penalty, and this power play brought to you by Ken Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. Under 1 minute to play, Krekowitz, nice pass across, another hesitation pass over to Glavina, but he can't cradle that in as the Raiders able to send this out. All the way into the Charles Wood end. Krekowitz takes it to safety behind his own net. They'll look to try again to break this out. Short breakout pass fed up to Vig Fuston, who sends this down low into the direction of Lewis, the man who drew the penalty. Over to Reynolds. Short little pass to Glavina as he looks cross-eyed. Sends up to the slot for Lewis, but has trouble maintaining possession of it as it didn't get to him the cleanest. Under 10 seconds remaining, all the way down, and almost a dangerous play there from Gordon as Anderson was right in the direction in that lane where he played that puck to safety. As the Hawks got one final breakout pass in after that. But yeah, shots 12-8 in favor of the Raiders Junior Hockey Club in a period where it started with them hemmed in their own zone more so, and really not that clean with the puck. They really cleaned things up as the period went along. It started with that power play goal they had. Momentum really started to build from there. And with that, I mean, the bounce, lucky in favor of them, but you're going to take that, especially when you're the underdog here, given that they're 7th place in the mmjhl standings. And for Charleswood, of course, looking to keep pace with the top of the standings, as we'll show you the standings here. Yeah, this is how we sit heading into tonight's action. For Charleswood, with a win, they would tie Transcona in the standings. Not sure how the head-to-head would work, or the tie-break that is, because they're tied in the head-to-head. So I wonder if it would be goals against or goals for afterwards. Either one of the two. Transcona has an advantage over Charleswood. As for the Raiders, all they can do is put even more pressure on the team behind them, which would be the St. James Junior Canucks. If they're able to come away with a victory here tonight, we're going to have more first period analysis coming up after this first intermission. We're going to play you some highlights, as we'll come back in this one with Charleswood continuing on their first power play of the game with 1:04 remaining to start off the second period. But this first period was brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, your one-stop shop for all your Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Oh, I'm jumping way ahead of myself, folks. That was the slogan for our third period sponsor. But for Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, it's Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Be sure to visit their website at cancentralsportscards.com, as well as checking out their only store location in the city of Winnipeg at 995 Milsteagle Drive. We'll have more mmjhl game day hockey coming up here soon from a neutral site, the Hockey for All Center, as the Raiders Junior Hockey Club lead this one 1-0, looking for a big kill to continue to start off the second period, as 1:04 left of power play time coming up here. We're going to show you some highlights now from some past games from mmjhl game day. Hope you enjoy during our intermission break. We'll be back soon, everybody. Welcome into the return of Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League game day here on the network, your home for mmjhl hockey on G-Show Productions. I'm your host and play-by-play commentator, Graham Forsyth. This broadcast is always brought to you by McKen Fasteners and Tools, Goaltenders, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, and Terrico. Alex, one touch of this to Zachary. Good afternoon, Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League fans, and welcome into another edition of Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League Game Day on your home for mmjhl hockey on gshow.ca, on G-Show Productions. On this first penalty of the game to Ethan Jared, passed him to the skates of Netraduk, trying to squeeze his way by. Oh, off the post, Netraduk goes. Thanks to that huge performance they had against the Twisters on Friday night. What do they got here? So bring Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia back onto the screen. Up to Larveld. Plays give and go. Keep away with number 16 there in D'Souza. Across that shot through, scores! Gets played up to the point to Larveld. Plays it down low to that right face-off circle. On the stick of Lenoski. Lenoski looked like he was going to line up to shoot. Instead goes down low. Tic-tac-toe in front. The Raiders make it 2-0. Somehow feeds this pass through to Zook now. Zook down low. Not sure who that was. On to Cromie's stick now. Back to Zook. Across to Cromie again. Back to Zook's stick. His shot. Deflected. Scores! Plays this quickly D to D to Braid Jaquette. The Vicks, nice transition pass out to the middle, hitting Imbrogno. He pulls up to shoot. Rebound there, scores! High level IQ there from Alessandro Imbrogno, setting up that chance for his teammate to put it home. As this puck gets chipped into the neutral zone now, Rubini trying to make it bad with speed, and he does just that, dangling in, but oh, Savoy with a nice effort. As Penner played it up to to Rubini. Rubini chips this in. Down low, tries to get it into the low slot. Oh, trickles in! Fortunately for the Victorias, as they strike here on the power play. To Hukert, as Hukert looks to go for a skate. Just before the blue line, rubbed out afterwards, but sends this in deep. Took a hit to make a play. As the Victorias looking to etch their way back to tie in this game. As Luke Elliott sends this down low in the corner to Spence. Up top to the point to Philippe. Rebound there, set of the net, banging away at it is Imbrogno. No, another Vic banging away at it. They score! Up top again to Kiesman. Hesitates on the shot. So Raider right there in the lane to block it. 9 seconds remaining now on this man advantage. Hurtness across to Rubini. He goes through, scores! With just under halfway remaining in this period. Stretch pass snapped on to Wilson's stick. Over to Mitchell. Back to Wilson. Scores! Side of the net, Kirkness denied. As the Raiders get it back now. That to Lenoski. Lenoski now trying to drive in. Maybe a wraparound chance. Rebound there. Scores! This stretched up now to Carter Lee. Has Rubini going to the net. Rubini trying to dangle in. Has that sticked away by Jared though to disrupt. Hukert. Back to even strength now. Jaquette, his shot through. Rebound there. Tipped to Imbrogno. Oh, what a save by number 35 in Savoy on his back. That's 35 more seconds of 4-on-4 action. D'Souza, nice dangle through. In alone on Penner, scores! What magic from number 16. How's this game back even? Do we get another overtime matchup here like on Friday night at Iroquois? Well, stick around to find out. Continue watching this one. Dorgan now tries to dangle through, but stood up there. Big time by Hukert. Another draw coming to the blocker hand side of the Vicks goaltender, won by his teammates out in front of him. Jaquette drawing a penalty here on D'Souza. As D'Souza falls that puck at Jaquette, and here's the mayhem starting off here, folks. Many players in the corner going at each other. Many punches being thrown. Jaquette unloading on number 14 in Chapman as he gets on to fighting against another Vicks player in that corner now. Absolute chaos transpiring here. So it'll be reverse grip for Netchwaduke and a face-off win for him with that strategy this time. Rubini tries going back to a rebound there, scores! That now taken away. Whiteside trying to bust through the D. Almost does just that. Gretzky strong with him though all the way down. Rid him out into the boards. From the corner by Savoy. Lenoski feeds this with one hand to Henry. Henry up to the point to Larvell. Larvell the cross now to D'Souza. Into the slot. Into the skates of Henry. Turned aside by Penner. This stripped away. Poked away by Netchwaduke. And picked up by Larenko. Circles towards the close boards. Up to Lenoski. He has that taken away again. The Vicks send it all the way down. And a fortunate bounce. It goes into the back of the net. As Blake Gretzky will be credited with the goal. To give the Vicks a 2-goal advantage here. 22.3 seconds away from completing a 4-1 season series record against this rival for them and the Raiders, who once again gave them everything that the Vicks could handle. They were down 3-0 to start off this game in the first period, but the Vicks got it.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
And welcome back into the Hockey for All Center on the WMGT rink, also short for the Western Marble Granite and Tile Company. I always forget in this arena specifically, if you're aware with how the Iceplex is laid out, there's 4 arenas, and I don't think they got a Zamboni for each one, so we have to wait a bit longer here to get going for a second period of action in this matchup tonight between the Charleswood Hawks and the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. Rescheduled from a few Fridays ago at this point due to that crazy snowstorm that had hit Manitoba a few weeks ago. And as for how the games played out, well, 1-0 in favor of the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. Not the nicest goal they'll ever score, but they'll take it on a team that continues to play hard all season long as it continues to go along here. And looking at their coaching staff, there is a newer name on it that I hadn't seen previously. And just from sources within the league, the rumor about why he showed up so late to the party here for the Raiders Junior Hockey Club was being out of the country. That coming from, of course, an anonymous source in the mmjhl, but his name's James Barkley, and I don't know, it's just something about the changes that this team has made to their lineup, and of course they made a bunch of trades, but for the players that are here and for the players that have gelled with each other, they've really put something together that's been inspiring here as the season continues to go along. 7-2-1 in their last 10 games played. A team that is, I think, most definitely going to be in the playoffs. And a team that's playing the top teams in the league tough as this season goes along. Like we saw it on full display against the St. Bonaventure Riels back on about January 3rd, where the Raiders stunned them and ended up winning that game, and it was a lot of the same details in that game that made them successful and led to the win that we've seen here against Charleswood so far. A good forecheck that has forced, some turnovers in the Charleswood Hawks end from their defensemen that, we're not as used to seeing because they're usually so good on that first pass. We're seeing a team that is building off that forecheck by getting some good cycle time in their opposition's end, to the point where they were down in the shot category to end up starting off that period, but end up leading at 12-8. They're still on the power play to start things off for the upcoming next 20 minutes of action, so something they'll look to continue to build on a power play that continues to get better as the season goes along as well. Now up to, as we take a look here at the standings, 20.2%. So, for a Raiders team, I think that the start to their period definitely one of where you're just surviving and kind of bending but not breaking, which was on full display in that first period of action with the Charleswood Hawks coming out with a lot of speed, with a lot of intensity, and held the puck in the Raiders zone for most of it. Forced some turnovers, some bad decisions with the puck from the Raiders. Almost led to goals in the back of their net, but some big saves from Owen Savoy in there. And this team, feeding off of that good momentum they built in their D zone, generating some good offensive zone chances. They drew a few power plays as well for themselves. And it'll be the Raiders who, of course, will be looking to kill off a penalty with a minute and 4 seconds remaining on that first penalty of the game for themselves, taken late in the period. I believe I might have said that the Raiders are going to be starting off on the power play since coming back from the highlight and the commercial break. But that's not the case. It's Charleswood who's on the power play. The Raiders looking to keep up some good momentum by getting a huge kill to start off here in these next 20 minutes of play. As well as Charleswood looking to flip the script here and get positive momentum turned back in their favor, into their direction, as they look to tie this one up at 1 apiece here. As they look to get the next goal. From the Hockey for All Center on mmjhl game day, we're going to throw it to our promo screen here quickly, and we'll be back for the call of the second period of action on this Wednesday night. A rare Wednesday night tilt in this rescheduled game from the Hockey for All Center between the Charleswood Hawks and the leading Raiders Junior Hockey Club, up 1-0 after the first 20 minutes of play. Welcome back into the Hockey for All Center, Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League fans, as the Zamboni Drivers finally finished clearing the ice here, cleaning it for a fresh sheet set for this upcoming period of action on mmjhl game day. The score 1-0 in favor of the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. Scoring on the power play, they start off on the penalty kill in period number 2, as it's former Hawk and Nicholas Chapman that starts off on the box, a minute and 4 remaining there. And then we'll be back to even strength. We'll take a look at how the rest of this January schedule for this 2024-2025 season is going to be going, as then there'll be a lone Saturday game in there on February 1st. But as for this game right here on this Wednesday night tilt, as we try to zoom in, we'll try to refocus. It's Charleswood. This power play brought to you by our second period sponsors in Terrico, as well as goaltenders for Terrico, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years in the agricultural industry. As this draw, won by Charleswood and possessed by them along the wall. Sperber, back in the lineup, has missed a few games when we've been here on the network covering Charleswood so far here this year. Raiders able to get it out and sent all the way down deep by Kushner out of his own net to leave this, as Gordon has a bit of sticky ice behind the net. Causes a bit of trouble for Charleswood to move that as efficiently as they would have liked to. Carlson now struggles in the corner, loses it over to Kennedy. This pass went from Kushner, but Kennedy has his shot blocked on a good short-handed chance for the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. Off the boards all the way down. Strong dumping from RJHC. As maybe one more potential chance here, looking to work, and just as the power play expires, but Cole Penner was stood up at the line. Chapman back out of the box as this gets chipped in by Stevenson as he gives chase. We're back to 5-on-5. Nice takeaway by Stevenson, but his pass cut off in that slot area all the way down into the Hawk zone, but not strong enough for an icing. How's this now chipped out? And huge hit along the boards by number 17 in Traverse on Wilson. Wilson unscathed though as he gets back up. That block shot now to Wilson. His bomb from the slot. Rebound there. Turned aside. Is number 17 in Larenko as Wilson tries to go low on number 22 and Anthony Jacob. Couldn't make contact with the former River East captain. Now stripped away by Danoon for the Raiders as that shot turned aside by the blocker of number 1 in Keegan Gordon. It'll be snagged up now by the glove of Gordon with 17:48 remaining in the second period of action. So once again, that forecheck for the Raiders, we saw it early on in this period, but it was short-handed. So I forget who got in on the forecheck, but took advantage of the situation, a bit of sloppy ice down below, some wet ices I should say, that looks like it's settled itself down now, but Carlson pressured, double-teamed in the corner, ends up sending an errant pass through the middle of the zone. That ends up on the stick of a Raiders player as they work it dangerously towards the net. Gordon had to step up to make a save. Now this odd man chance, back door, Ash denied by Gordon. Another save by number 1. Ash digs it out from underneath them, gets possession, scrambling are the Hawks, ends up to the point. Chapman, shot turned aside by Gordon, ends up aerial again. Losing sight of it for a moment was Charleswood. Back onto the Raiders sticks as Chapman shot heavy, but swallowed up well enough by Gordon to stave off the potential incoming rebound shots again. As for the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, continuing to be opportunistic and dangerous on their chances. Is that, or those series of huge saves, brings up goaltenders on the bottom of our screen. Huge defensive play on the back check. Carlson dodges the hit along the boards there. It's laid on by Chapman. Raiders tried clearing, and they do. Just hops over the stick of Glavina. This is recovered by Krekowitz. Over to number 7 in Glavina. Glavina tried to play it out, but couldn't. What's this now? Dangled to the middle, Glavina. Carlson almost able to catch up to that stretch pass, but negates the icing. Short little pass, slow slot, misses. Held in at the point. Glavina, his shot fanned on, but could work out as it gets loose to Traverse. Back up to Krekowitz. Huge block shot there by Senchuk. Can the Raiders do enough to chip this out? They do just enough. And as a result, rewarded with a bit of time to work this out, but not much of it as Charleswood was closing quickly, forces an icing on the play. So we'll get a face-off draw, which comes back inside of the Raiders' end. So, some good pressure from the Hawks there. Allows for this offensive zone face-off to be won, and that blast ends up going wide of the net. Parker White unable to hold the line. He gets it over quickly to Van Alstyne, over to Monin, who just passed the red line, directs this in to the direction of Penner. So out there with Dudic, who clogs up the wall well with that stick. Took it away, leaves it down low. As Dudic back on it again. Whips this down low and rims it around hard into the direction of Monin, who takes a bad spill into the boards. Went in awkwardly. That tip shot scores! By Dudic in front. So he gives Van Elstein a tap on the back. Almost a scary situation for the Hawks as Sam Monin went in awkwardly into the boards there as mentioned. He ends up being okay. Of course, our